What's going on, guys? Scopamar TV here, back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about why do older men sometimes go for younger women. Now, I consider this a very interesting topic because how young is too young, and at what point is should be illegal? To me, anything over 10 years is wrong, totally wrong. There's nothing in common that you can have with somebody that's 10 years younger or older than you. It's a very tricky situation there. After 10 years, it's a whole new generation in my opinion. But let's hear what this woman has to say. There's another video we're going to watch after this, what a man has to say in regards to this same topic, and we're going to talk about it.
Why do older men in their 40s and beyond prefer dating women in their 20s? And why don't they choose women their own age? Can someone explain this to me? Because it doesn't make any sense.
So she has two questions. Why do older men date women that's half their age? And
At all.
basically,
Why do you go for someone the same age as your daughter? I mean, 15 and you're 40?
so she's very baffled, and I'm baffled by this question because you know what? I agree with her. Why would you do that? But what I'm going to say is a lot of these guys, they date younger because they don't want any headache from so-called women, but it's never going to be peaceful no matter what. Life is all about complex issues and solving problems. So they'll go for a younger girl using their money as leverage, knowing that, you know what, they can hold this money over their heads and control them financially and say, what, the more you piss me off is the less money I'm going to give you. Now, the older these women become, the more they understand this, the manipulation, and they tend to just go off and make their own money and move on. Now, on the flip side of that, I remember back in the days when I was younger in high school, I remember specifically there was a girl I liked. She went for a guy in his 20s who worked at the post office. My money could not compete. So this is why it's very important for fathers to stay in their daughters' lives, because a lot of women are dating out of necessity. The younger they are, the more things they need, or the more, things that they're going to be looking for financially, and the more this older man is a meal ticket for them to get what they want. However, fathers who stay in their daughter's life and provide their daughters with the necessary tools to advance their lives, these girls tend to not date older men, in my opinion, because they have everything they need already financially from their dads, and they would tend to look for somebody around their own age. Now, if you ask me what's a good age to date, no more than 6 years, younger or older. Anything over that, you're pushing it. 10 years, that's kind of excessive. Anything over 10, yeah, we in a different generation, different league right there. And me personally, I could never date a woman that's way older than me, and I could not date one that's a lot younger than me. It wouldn't make any sense. As a man in my 30s, if I was supposed to be single today, me talking to a 21-year-old would be annoying. Like, when you look at the behaviors of these young girls and their mentality, they're children, at the young age that, many people who are older today think about. When you were younger, you literally didn't know anything at 20. You didn't know anything about the world, the housing market. You didn't know anything. So to try to date somebody that young, how are you going to relate? It would only be a one-sided deal where you're constantly have to teach this person about life. It would almost be like you're raising a child all over again. Now, let's watch a video of a gentleman talking about the same topic.
Does not grow with him, consider that a massive red flag. Because how are you if a man's attraction does not grow with him, consider that a massive red flag. Because how are you as a grown ass man, middle-aged in your 30s, still attracted to the same girls that you were attracted when you were 18, 19, and 20 years old? You've grown as a man, you're in your 30s now, but you're still into those girls that barely got out of high school, 18, 19, 20 years old. old. There are two main reasons for why a man will date down that low. One of the reasons is because he knows that younger women are more impressionable. They're easily impressed, malleable, and you can manipulate a younger girl a lot easier. The second reason is because he's emotionally stunted and has not developed mentally or emotionally. He's 30 something years old, but his mental and emotional state is still at 18, 19. And this is exactly
And that's another thing that, I feel like the world is dealing with is that you have a lot of people in this world today that are old in age, old in body, but are young in mind. There are women and men today walking amongst us that are in their 40s, in their 30s, but their minds are that of a teenager. And this is a very serious issue that the world has to deal with, because when you have people that don't think on an adult level, that's a destructive human being walking around.
exactly why a lot of men will say, "Oh, she's so mature for her age. I love how mature she is." Is she mature for her age, or are you that immature for your age? She seems mature because you're on the same level of emotional maturity that she is. You have the emotional maturity of a 19-year-old. That's why she seems mature, when in all reality, you're just that immature. And it's easy to impress a girl who literally just got out of high school, 18, 19 years old, have a little bit of cash.
Facts. Going back to what I was saying earlier, these guys know that these girls are dating out of necessity. So they'll use the money as leverage all day to leverage affection and care from these women in their younger ages. And I think that is manipulative. And, I'm going to say this, man, even older women dating younger men, it tends to be the same thing where older women with money, they would literally buy these younger men. They'll buy them things. They'll take them on trips. They'll just give them whatever they want. But at the same time, they'll even have them come and live with them. This is why I always laugh. I always find it funny when I see guys getting kicked out of homes and, oh, get out of my place. And, I never would in my right mind would ever go live with any woman, without me owning that property. It wouldn't make any sense to me. But I always find it funny. But it could be in these situations where the woman is older, she has more money than him, and he ended up coming to live with her. And like I said, they use the home, the housing, the money as leverage to get whatever they want. So there's two sides to the predatory coin in regards to controlling a younger person in a relationship.
Have a stable job, have a car pull up in your Honda, pick her up after 7th period, and guess what? You got a girl who's easily impressed because she does not have those things on her own. Just know that there's a disconnect from a man and his emotional state when he is in his 30s, 40s, and he's dating down to that low and still finds girls that young attractive. And a lot of them will say, well, they're adults, they're of legal age. Let me ask you this then. If that was your daughter and a man who was in his late 30s was trying to hit on her, trying to take her out, how would you feel about it? Exactly. You're not okay with that because you know it's fucking weird. And best believe that if a man uses the law to justify him dating down that young and that low, best believe that he would date even lower if he could. If the law is the only thing stopping you, you got a problem. If a man
He summed it up perfectly. If somebody says, oh, well, the age of consent is this, you got to be very careful of those kinds of people. That's a very dangerous human being, man or woman. You know what I'm saying? You've seen these news reports of these teachers, these women teachers taking advantage of the male students. Same on the other side. Like I said, it's a very predatory behavior. I think anything past 10 years is very wrong, very suspicious. Like there's not much you can talk about at
if a
that
man's
age
attracted,
difference. So that's just what my take on this. I think that you can date whoever you want at the end of the day, but when you're going younger, or even if somebody is older coming after you, you got to ask yourself, why would I date somebody my parents age? Like I always look at this and I'm like, would I be able to date a 50-year-old? It wouldn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Under no circumstances would I be able to do that. I know there are guys that would do it, but there tend to be a man that's very lazy, don't want to work, don't have any ambition. But an ambitious man that works and have his own thing that can be manipulated financially would date within his age range. You know what I'm saying? They would date within their age range. But let's get into the comments real quick and see what people got to say. Someone said, I recently broke up with my living BF of 9 years because I found out he was chasing 18-year-old co-worker. Mind you, I have a 21-year-old daughter. Wow. Seriously, 30-year-olds going for 18-year-olds is disgusting. Another one. Someone says, I wish I would have understood this when I was young and was getting attention from older men. I now understand there's something definitely off, but I was too naive to see it back then. Like I said, a lot of girls, they tend to fall victim to this more so than, the guys, where men go after them, manipulate them financially, buy them things, and, they see shiny cars and they get all swept up off their feet, only to be used and disposed of for the next younger chick coming along the way. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What is a good age range dating wise, and what is like wrong, like very wrong? Get in the comment section. Until next time, Scope Mar TV, I'm out.